Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about who I think what the past tells us about who will win and why. Okay, and this is really based on the history. And if you study the trends that take place over the last tournament all the way to 1930, you will find certain interesting trends and interesting behavior. And what I will do also is I will not purely concentrate on just statistics. I will also give you some of my opinions, which will probably affect how the groups are going to turn out, and you can see for yourself whether you agree or not. Okay. Now, just to follow up on what Dr. Yap has been saying, if you think that money has got nothing to do with the World Cup, then you're sorely wrong. Okay. The World Cup now is the richest tournament, the richest event in the whole wide world. Okay. And it is on the record that FIFA doesn't care who wins the World Cup, so long as they generate the most amount of revenue from the event. Okay? And another thing that you should know, if you think that money has got nothing to do with it, would be, even from the 1930s, okay, the host nation of the World Cup has always gone beyond the preliminary round. Okay? Because of the investment that the country undertakes in upgrading the stadiums, in providing accommodation, in security, okay, they have always ensured, okay, that they have made at least the second round, if not beyond. And there is a reason for that. Because if the home nation or the host nation were to be knocked out in the first round, imagine how the whole country would feel, how the whole fans would feel, how the whole atmosphere would be like. And it doesn't justify the amount of investment that the country has put into it. Okay? So this is something for you to take note of. Okay, probably everybody will be wondering, this is the question on your mind, right? Will Brazil win the World Cup again? Okay? Now, I'll just share with you some stats that I've computed, okay, based on the last tournaments, okay? So up to date, despite the many nations and the many countries in the whole wide world, only 7 countries have ever won the World Cup. Okay, and the 7 countries are there: Brazil, Germany, Italy, Uruguay, Argentina, England, and France. Okay, and Brazil leads the pack with 5 and Germany with 3. Okay. Now, no matter where the event is being held, okay, at least one among these 7 makes it to the World Cup semi-final 60% of the time. And this dates back to 1930. Okay? And at least one among these 7 will make it to the World Cup final. Not just the semi-final, but the final 74% of the time. Okay? Now, what do you think? You probably will be wondering, what about 2 countries out of this 7 making it to the final itself? This happens 59%. Okay, almost 60%, which is very, very high. Okay? Okay, some other stats that you might want to take note of. Brazil is the only non-European country to have won the World Cup on European soil. Okay? And if you're predicting that Brazil will win, then they really have to challenge this statement. Okay? And for those, you've read the papers, you've listened to, you've watched TV programs, and they say, the South American countries like Argentina, countries like Brazil, the entire team is already playing in Europe. So it doesn't really make a difference. This statement doesn't really hold. Well, I can tell you that even in the 1980s, you have Brazilians and Argentinians playing in Europe, but they still have never won the World Cup since 1958. Okay? Now, one of the 7 countries, okay, now we take a look at the 7 countries which I mentioned just now, okay, and them being the host. Okay? So it's not just about the 7 countries in general, but one of them being the host. Okay, so one of the 7 countries has made it to the World Cup semi-finals whenever one of them is the host, 100%. Okay? The 7 countries, whenever they hosted a World Cup, okay, it's a guarantee that one of them has made the semi-finals. And this time round, it's going to be held in Germany. Okay? Okay. One of the 7 countries has made it to the World Cup final. Okay, whenever one of them is the host. Again, this is 100%. Okay? So if you probably pick one of the countries out of the 7 to make it to the final, well, it has never been, the streak has never been broken before. Okay. Now, what about 2 of the countries? Okay, 2 of the 7 countries making it to the World Cup final, whenever one of them is the host, 56%. Okay, which is still quite high. Okay. Now, what about the host country itself? You probably will be asking. Okay, the host country has made it to the semi-finals 59%, 60% of the time. So for the person who does not say, you think Germany will win, well, I think statistically you stand a very good chance. Okay, 60% of the host country has made it to the semi-finals. Host country making it to the finals, 47%. And of course, the host country winning the World Cup itself is 35%. Okay, and one more thing that I want to tell you about, and this is also regarding the UPS model, where they pick, they pick the 2 countries to go through the preliminary rounds and all that, right? Historically, it has never been the case that the favorites, right, all the favorites have finished top of their group. Okay, so if you take a look at the model and the schedule, not the schedule, but the fixtures that they worked out, right, they are assuming that all the favored nations finish top of their group. Historically, this has never happened. Okay, I can name you a lot of examples. I'll just name you a few. 2002, of course, Italy finished second. Portugal, Argentina, and France were all knocked out during the preliminary rounds. Okay, you go back to 1994, you have Italy finishing third behind Mexico and Ireland. You have Argentina finishing behind Nigeria. Okay, in 1990, you have Argentina finishing behind Cameroon and Romania. Okay, even going back to 1974, okay, West Germany, who are world champions, okay, they hosted the tournament. In the preliminary rounds, they finished second behind East Germany. Okay, so historically, it's never happened. Okay, so if you think this UBS report is reliable, well, I'm sorry to say that it's probably not going to happen.